so easily.
So easily. I sent someone, someone put a BitInstant theme song on YouTube, and I was like, oh, that's so cool. Here's 5 Bitcoin just for fun. But I accidentally sent him 50, and I told him to keep it.
No.
Like, but this was, I mean, Bitcoin was like $1, so who cares, you know? This was...
Well, that's the other thing as well is have you seen him since and like shake him down?
He's gone. No, yeah, he's living on an island somewhere.
He's like no longer your friend.
Costa Rica or something.
This notion, something else that's totally new, even though the phrase was invented like a few years ago, HODL.
Yeah.
So this notion of holding and never using your Bitcoin and never transacting. When we were first involved with Bitcoin, I remember thinking like, wow, I told my husband, look, I just bought an iPhone and like I just sent them 10 Bitcoin and they sent me an iPhone. How cool is that? And now like it makes me sick to think
I know. So the whole thing is the HODL. But the funny part, for those of you guys don't know, in the crypto space, when things like what happened last week, you know, the price is dumping, everyone's saying like hold, hold, hold. There's a funny thing in the crypto space where it's HODL, H-O-D-L. So what had happened was, when the Bitcoin price was dumping from like $500 to $200, some guy went on the Bitcoin Talk forums and said like, I'm drunk, my wife is out, you know, with some other guy, the Bitcoin price is dropping right now, but I'm hodling, I don't even know what I'm saying, I kept spelling it wrong, and it was like this like drunk tirade, and it's so funny, and I go back and read that sometimes, and it's just like a reminder of that, like, things will always be better in a week from now. Just wait it out.
And it might also be clearer because on those early days, now when we have first covered Bitcoin on Kai's Report, so the coin was at $2 and something. And one of the first comments in that 2011 episode where we interviewed John Matonis, somebody was like, why are they pushing this scam? Looking at 21 million coins, that means some has conned you out of 50 million bucks. That was the market cap back then.
Yeah.
And then the next episode we did about it a month later, the price had gone up to 11 and then crashed.
Oh my God, I remember that crash.
Yeah. Well,
it's a revolutionary
like, I put my life savings into this shit coin at $11. And you're like, what did you copy into? So
there was a scene in Banking on Bitcoin on Netflix, that our documentary where Nick Spanos in New York was giving out flyers about Bitcoin, and some lady, and the price was, I think, $1,000, and the lady was like, yeah, this is a scam. He's like, it's up $200 this week. She goes, talk to me next year. And you know, like next year, look, now where are we at? $12,000 right now, so I laughed at her all the way to the bank or whatever.
But so you never know, like, what it's going to look like in a year or two. Like, certainly when all those, so, you know, once I got my head around Bitcoin, and it took like 2 years to understand what the hell I was, like, what this even was that I had. And we had done the first Bitcoin conference in 2011. Nobody really knew what it was.
So back then it was, so this is the coolest part that I think in the space. It's like back then it was Bitcoin. And then they said, oh, we're going to launch like, there's some other ones like Namecoin and Ethereum and some of these really early ones that a lot of them didn't succeed. And people were huge maximalists, and myself included. And you know, I kind of had to take a step back and say to myself, like, Charlie, like, right now, if I'm trying to spread Bitcoin too thin and have Bitcoin do everything, it's like, you ever get a bagel and not have enough cream cheese to spread on your bagel? The bagel's not good.
That's such a New York thing.
Think about it. It's real. Like in Starbucks, you buy a bagel, you have to get 2 cream cheeses. So we have all these projects that I'm involved in, I advise, and I'm very public about my holdings. I even post like what I'm buying, what I'm selling with and even our new company, Crypto IQ, we talk about like the things that we're buying and selling. There's so many different projects now that are doing so many different things. Yes, okay, maybe we are in a dot-com bubble, everyone's always, but don't forget, out of that whole dot-com bubble, you had like the pets.com and all these crappy ones, but you still had the Googles, the Amazons, you still had the really amazing ones. And if I could advise and invest and be involved in like 15 of them, but only 2 of them succeed, that's pretty good. Yeah. So I'm going to take my chances. I'm going to invest in what people call scam coin. I don't care. I want to try to create transparency, integrity, and be involved in as many projects as I can to see what works.
That's one thing I've kind of learned too, is like, at this moment of time, before all the regulators and all the big players come in, like just to experiment and try, and who knows, like as long as you don't gamble anything that you can't afford to lose.
I'm playing with my own money, so I mean that's what it is at the end of the day.
Yeah.
I've lost the time just as much as I made it, so I mean, that's just the way it is.
Now, the other big thing this year, I mean, it's been around for a while, but this year saw the 2017 saw the explosion of this initial coin offering.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that? Because I know, you were very young when you entered the Bitcoin space,
yeah.
and you had BitInstant, and you ended up getting arrested. And,
yeah.
Like there are some dangers. Like a lot of people seem to think like, oh.
No, it's not. It's they know, the government knows everything. You got to be careful. You got to have good lawyers. You got to make sure you know what you're doing. And at the end of the day, if you're just launching a token on Ethereum with no real like utility or value, and if you're just using it to like raise money or securitize some asset, you're not doing the right thing unless you register with the SEC in this country. So what a lot of these projects are doing is they're actually like building out their own platforms and building out their own blockchains and creating really cool, like, InsurePal's doing insurance projects and GVT and all these projects, and Salt with doing loans.
Yeah.
I was talking to Sean from Salt today. They have $1 billion of loans pending. People who want to put their Bitcoin and Ether and Salt tokens into smart contracts and take out loans against them. Think about how crazy that is, how radical that is. It's unbelievable. So I mean, these projects that are doing these things, sports platforms, it's unbelievable. And yeah, I mean, what I always try to look at is like, who are the team? What are their ability to execute? What are they doing? Have they had past success? Where do they live? Do they have their faces on my website? Because I don't want someone running away with my money. Lord knows that's happened to me so many freaking times. Where I have guys in Australia sitting on like crazy amounts of Bitcoin from the early days of mine. They just ran away with, Crypto Exchange, Mint Pound, Cryptsy, Mt. Gox, and so I never want to see that happen to anyone because it's happened to me.
I don't think it really happens as much anymore. There's not as big, because it's so much bigger.
Yeah.
People don't really understand that if you didn't experience it, people just run off with your Bitcoin. They had an exchange and
what were you going to do? You're going to call the police and say, yeah, someone stole my magic internet money. And they didn't, you couldn't do it. They didn't listen to you. They laugh at you and hang out. Sorry, you're, stupid. But we have more important things to deal with right now. So you really were like, for lack of a better term, shit out of luck back then. But you know what? I guess it's the pioneers, the early ones that go through the door that are the ones that are shot first, right?
Yeah.
It's not easy going out west or like doing it, and a lot of people made mistakes and got hurt and did stupid things, and the ones that are still involved in the space today, I try to give extra attention to, because I know these are the guys that really worked hard. And in the early days, none of us made money. I want to do a documentary and talk to like all these CEOs of these exchanges and these like billionaires now and all these guys. We all had day jobs before. Like I had a stupid I sold cameras like on the internet, and like some people were photographers, and I washed dishes, and we all had other jobs. We did crypto. Like I started BitInstant in my parents' basement, and I had a real job I left to. This wasn't a money-making opportunity for us. We got involved in this.
Plus you almost lost it anyway, even though like that much.
You were losing money, but it was just fun, and it was exciting. And I remember this conference a few years ago, and I know like Jason King and Mo jumped in the pool at the Versace mansion and we got kicked out. And then I was supposed to speak at this event a few years ago, and I wasn't here. And Mo walks out on stage and he said, "Yeah, Charlie was arrested today." And it was it was the day at this conference.
Really?
Yeah, it was that last year this time. What day is it today? January something, right?
Oh, the 18th, 19th.
19th. So I got arrested January 25th, 2014. It was the day this conference was, that in 2014, and it was crazy.
Now, another thing I want to bring up is we would talk about all these early days. It was quite fun, and everybody was friends, and we all had the Bitcoin Suffolk Club, and it was like 20 of us all the time, and now everybody hates each other. So,
I like that you hate each other.
All this, like, is it good? Is it good for anti-fragility of Bitcoin? Is this like the biggest, greatest minds fighting
You know,
ring, and we're going to...
we talk about immutability,
Yeah.
and we talk about the ability for no one party or one person to control blockchain, or to, you know, like, in essence, at a very basic level, what clicked with me, why I fell in love with blockchain technology, was I saw a censorship-resistant ledger system that I can send value or even information on it to someone else, and there's not one party, corporation, government, or person that can reverse that, alter that, change that. And for me, that was like mind-blowing, because this broke essentially the Byzantine general's problem. So when you have all these different personalities in the crypto space, that kind of helps its immutability, because no one party will agree on something. That's actually a good thing. You want people to butt heads, you want people to have differences of opinions, because if we all agreed on everything, then nothing would really get done.
Well, some people say something. I mean, so some people are concerned about, you know, all the forks happen.
Sure.
And people are predicting there are going to be more forks soon. I saw like Bitcoin Gold. I didn't even know I had this Bitcoin Gold. I didn't know about this thing.
There's Bitcoin Diamond now, Bitcoin Platinum.
Is that? I thought that was fake.
Oh, that was fake.
I don't know. I thought it was a scam going.
You know, these are all experiments. A lot of them are like these get-rich-quick schemes type of thing. A lot of these projects are laying the actual groundwork for crypto. I mean, you look at you just went on this whole roadshow with Dash. I mean, that's Dash doing that guerrilla marketing for crypto. It's introducing people to crypto. And once people get into cryptocurrency, whether it's with Dash or with Bitcoin or Ethereum or Litecoin, they're in the space now. They're in the space now. And they may become a developer. They'll maybe jump to a different project. So any project that's doing this and that's going out there and contributing to the economy as a whole, you know, amen to that. I love it. I love it.
And I think like that, really right now, it seems like it's still the pre-Cambrian sort of explosion. So many, like there's really no idea, like you can't come up with that is too absurd. And you can come up with Bitcoin Diamond if it was, you know, you can come up with your own fork and do whatever. If you think that you have a better idea, or you think you know better, you could just try to do better than
no one can really call you a scam. You're not taking someone's money, you're giving them money.
Well,
so
people still don't understand that for the most part. Like, a lot of people still think, like, if you create a coin, and even anybody can mine it, that they still think it's a scam, that you've created some vast
we're
wealth.
gonna have the super maximalists that are always going to exist on the fringe or whatever. I mean, and there's a place for them too, because these guys are die-hard crypto enthusiasts, and they've been around for so long. So I respect everyone.
And so, what do you think about the whole regulatory? You've encountered the regulatory environment, as we've mentioned, but right now it doesn't seem like any single country, like China will start to ban it.
And then Korea, it's like an orchestra, up and down, and then India's one day, then not day.
Germany is saying global regulation needed. What do you think is going to happen?
I don't think it's physically possible.
Yeah.
It's, you know, like as Roger Ver says, as much as I don't agree with him, I still have an immense amount of respect for him. As he says, like, in order to shut down the crypto ecosystem, in order to shut down Bitcoin, you'd have to shut down every computer on the internet. You have to shut down every computer in the world. That's really how you do it. There's no physical way. There are no way to identify cryptocurrency traffic versus regular internet traffic. And other countries have actually tried to limit their users' internet. Like during certain revolutions, you see the internet has been cut off or whatever. But there's always ways to connect to other computers, whether it's satellites. Hell, you can do blockchains over pigeon carrier. There are always ways to do it.
So why don't you tell some like stories from early Bitcoin for those people who weren't around in there? Any sort of like interesting stories that you had? Like I always tell the story, like we sat next to Vitalik when I think he was like 16 or 17, and we were like, who is this like sweet little geek?
I remember we went to like
Bitcoin magazine.
I took Vitalik to get lobster one day in New York, and like he just like was like looking at it. Like, what do I do with it?
What is this?
But no, well, like the other day, whenever I've had, whenever I'm like watching the Bitcoin price pop, like go up or whatever price, and we talked earlier, like you can never have regrets, because if you have regrets in this space, and I just like, and I try not to do it, but I'll go on, I'll search my old emails, and I'll see like emails where, hey, I have 50,000 Bitcoin for sale at 10 cents. Do you want to buy it? You know, and I'm like, oh, why am I doing that? Well, like, and one time, me, Ira Miller, Eric Voorhees, Gabe Sukenik, and a bunch of other guys. Justin Blinko was there, all the guys from Shapeshift, and this was pre-Shapeshift. We all like used to play poker at the Bit Instant offices, and our pot was like 20 Bitcoin or whatever. And there was one time where like we had it on the wallet, and I think I lost the address or the private key, or I exited the page. Just like, oh, whatever. Like I'll get you back next week. 20 Bitcoin.
Max and I were saying, like, remember when you would go to these Bitcoin conferences and people would be handing out crypto cards? Like, here's like 5 Bitcoin.
No,
just scratch this off.
People were giving out the Cassatius coins at conferences.
I remember.
And those coins have 1 Bitcoin on them, even 5 Bitcoin on them, and now their value is crazy. Like my ring, I have this Bitcoin ring made of silver, and there's a private key on the back. And it's, listen everyone, it's BIP38 encrypted, but I don't keep anything on it anymore because it's too dangerous to do that. It's just for fun now, like you guys can have it. There's nothing on it. I posted the address on my website, then you can check. Well, I can't walk around with money on this anymore because it's just like, Bitcoin's actually worth something now. So.
Yeah. So, but any other stories from your early days in Bitcoin? Because you were very early, so I can't believe you got in at 2000. You said 10?
2000. So officially,
How
I
did
think
you
like
know it was
my
like
first,
something?
My first forum post I think was in 2011, but I was hanging out in the IRC. So like back then, the only places to actually talk about Bitcoin was in the IRC chat rooms. And so for those who are a little bit older or been around the internet space for a while, IRC's Internet Relay Chat, and that's where you'd open up a terminal window or you'd download one of the clients and you'd irc.freenode and you'd log in and join the Bitcoin dev channel or Bitcoin OTC, and that's where everyone would talk. And what happened was actually I used to hang out, and I was a kid. I used to hang out in Evil Zone. Evil Zone was there's something evil about it. It was like this like pseudo script kiddie hackers that I used to call myself, and we used to hang out. And this one day, this guy came in and he said, "Hey, check out this Bitcoin thing." And I said, "What is this?" And he says, "Well, download it, and I'll send you." So I'm like, "All right, I'm downloading a program that some guy gives me an IRC chat room."
Yeah.
So it's like 16 virus scans. But so I downloaded the software and I gave him my address over IRC, and all of a sudden like 1,000 Bitcoin popped into my wallet, and I said, all right, so what's the big deal? This is just like a downloadable version of PayPal. And he said, no. He explained to me that basically, when he sent me that transaction, not only did the database on my computer, there's an actual database, physical database, a blockchain file. Not only is it in real time adding the transaction that he sent to me, but it's also adding the transaction that someone else sent to someone else. Like the total of 10 people that are actually sending Bitcoin transactions back then. And the other people who have, the 6 other people who have the software on their computers, my transaction is now on their database too, in real time. And then what happens is every few minutes, there's a confirmation. These guys who are mining this thing, getting 50 Bitcoin a block to mine, are confirming it and then locking it in, and it's being relayed in real time to everyone's databases and I said, wow, like, so basically you're telling me that all these people have their computing power together. We'd be mining on CPUs, it wasn't even GPU mining, it was computer. You can open up your MacBook Pro, or MacBook for that matter, and actually mine Bitcoin and get a lot of it. So all these people who have their software running, if I wanted to reverse the transaction that I just sent to you, I need to have 51% more computing power than the whole system as a whole. And he said, yeah. And I said, that's freaking crazy. Like that's unbelievable. Like, and just it hit me. Wow. Like, forget transactions. But what about, like, let's throw Wikipedia on the blockchain. Let's throw everything. Let's create a block system.
You were way ahead of time.
Oh, I was just thinking, like, how crazy is this? Well, don't forget, like, during this time, there were all these revolutions. The Arab Spring wasn't happening yet, but there were a lot of these independence movements, and governments were shutting off the internet and doing different things and limiting people's abilities.
That was in 2011.
And my family actually led my family in the 60s, this is before the internet, but you know, my family fled. We came to America, and we were, because we were Jewish, and all the Arab countries didn't like us being there anymore, so my grandfather told me what was happening in these countries back then, but now with the internet, so in those days, you know, you couldn't get information in and out. You'd have to build little copies in your shoes to get like even a little note out, you know, of these countries. And now with the internet and information is being able to be, you know, go across borders. But then what these governments were doing was actually shutting down the internet, like actually shutting them down. But before even they were doing that, they were limiting people's abilities to access Wikipedia or to access Facebook and Twitter and things like that. And now with cryptocurrency and with blockchain technology, you can't do that anymore. And that was amazing.
One thing I want to say also that's kind of new compared to the early days is there are a lot of ways to earn crypto now, from like things like Steemit or Storm Token. Like there are loads of things that you can now earn crypto without having to go through the stress of like...
Just by being smart and having good ideas and good predictions. There's so many different ways to get involved. Tons of jobs, tons of opportunities. Don't quit school, but get a side job in crypto while you finish school. And really, like, this is an amazing community, an amazing group of people. It doesn't matter who you are, the color of your skin, the gender, anything. If you're involved in the cryptocurrency space, you are a human being first, and we all love each other, and I love it.
I met a 21-year-old outside.
He's retired at 21 years old?
Retired at 21. Watched your show at 16 years old and bought Bitcoin, so he's retired.
I'm going to go watch your show again and make sure I listen. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Wow.
Shrem Stacy! Guys, it was really awesome. Thank you so much. That was really awesome. That's some history right there.